Hello fellow lovers of the liminal and the weird, and welcome to another video by Liminal Spaces. Today I wanted to try to figure out how I'm going to do library tours. And what I've come up with is I'm start with my science fiction, just because that's kind of what I read the most on this channel. And what I'm going to do is try to take some pictures of my shelves, and then I'm going to pull down books that I find interesting, and I'm going to go alphabetically letter by letter. So I'm going to start today with books that I think are super interesting from my personal library, that start with A. Yeah, I'm going to skip these DAWs because I'm going to make a video specifically going through DAWs in numeric order. So there's like acres and stuff in the A's of DAW, but I want to save those and go through those numerically by the release date. So interesting things in the A section of my science fiction library. We will start with Enter Ice Age 4 by Kobo Abe. I will eventually do this book on this channel. I read it quite a few years back. I've read a few Kobo Abe. You guys would know him best, of course, as the writer of Woman in the Dunes, which is his most famous. And eventually we'll do that one on this channel as well. It has a film that my brother would like to talk about as well. But this is his science fiction outing. And I remember really enjoying it at the time, but I really don't remember much about it. So one of these days we'll be doing this on our channel. I'll be giving it a reread. But yeah, I think the cover's interesting with this fractured man here. I love Kobo Abe's other work, and I think it's going to be really incredible. So I'm glad to have that. Next, I want to talk about Brian Aldiss. I have this book, The Moment of Eclipse. It's a short story collection by Brian Aldiss, and the reason that I bought it was because it has the short story Super Toys Last All Summer Long. And that short story is what the film AI is based on. And I really, really did enjoy that movie. I thought it was an incredible movie. And I'm glad to have this so that eventually I can read this short story and my brother can watch the movie and we can talk about that. So I haven't read any Aldiss yet. This will be my first. But I have picked up more Aldiss. This I actually ordered off of eBay because I was interested in the short story about the AI. This one I found out in the wild. Cryptozoic by Brian Aldiss. It's a book club edition, not a first. Got probably one of the best author photos on the back of a book ever. He looks like a happy dude. I don't know if I'm talking about the right book here, but I know that there is a Brian Aldiss that everybody talks about on the Sci-Fi BookTube stuff, so this might be it. I don't know. Either way, I look forward to giving this a look. Kobo Abe, Brian Aldiss, and then we get right into Isaac Asimov. And I have an interesting relationship with Asimov. There's been stuff of his that I've read that I just could not get into. And there's been other stuff of his that I read that I really liked. I think there's a book called The Complete Robot, which I know I have, although I didn't pull it down for this because it's a more modern release. But, oh yeah, there it is. The Complete Robot, I just popped it open, and one of the first stories I read, and it might be the first story, was the story of these kids that have a robot that tells them stories before they go to bed. And it's this old junker that's been basically, I think, put in the basement. It's been a while since I've read this. And there will be spoilers here coming. Yeah, no, maybe I should do a video on this specific story. It's super good. Anyway, there are times that I absolutely love Asimov, and there are times that he just doesn't do it for me. But it's impossible just going to out in the wild to collect science fiction to not get a lot of Isaac Asimov. And I know that I have, I think, all of his fiction, which is really what I look for. So I've only pulled down just really unique covers and editions of the Isaac Asimov, basically my favorite Isaac Asimov stuff that I have. So this is The Man Who Upset the Universe. It's an Ace publication, and what I like about it, of course, is it's a very unique older cover, and it is the original title of it was Foundation and Empire, so it's part of the Foundation series that was renamed, apparently. I found that super interesting. So I loved that cover, so I had to grab it. I've got an interesting signet copy of The Caves of Steel with an early 50s art on it. 35 cents for this back in the day, and I just really liked that cover. Another signet by Isaac Asimov, The Currents of Space. This was 25 cents back in the day, and another great cover. Looks like they're trying to get out of an airport or something. He's got his luggage with him, but they're running very seriously. Something scary's going on there. So that's all my favorite Asimov paperbacks. My favorite Asimov hardbacks that I have. Fantastic Voyage. Absolutely loved this movie when I was a kid. And this is a cool book club edition. I love the cover. And I know that, I think Isaac Asimov wrote a second one to this. This is a movie tie-in. And I think he wrote it after the movie had already come out. Correct me in the comments if I'm wrong, but I absolutely loved this movie growing up and was very happy to find such an older version of that book. You've already seen this, but my copy of iRobot. It is an earlier second edition, I believe. Of course, the first edition is just red and has that black outline of the robot on it. This is the second cover that it ever had. And this isn't even a first edition of that run, but it is an early version of that second edition run. And it's not a book club. It's got a price of $5.95. I think the first one had $3 on it. So it's a little bit later. But I just love the early copies of this stuff. And this was an early one. So I'm glad to have that. The Bicentennial Man and Other Stories. Focusing well. I'm gonna of course put up the pictures up there too when I do this. This is a book club edition. I haven't read all these stories. I know I've read chunks of his stories all over the place, so I don't really know what's in what, but I'm happy to have this early cover, and I love this picture of Asimov holding up the puzzle piece. Really great cover. Isaac Asimov's By Jupiter and Other Stories. I have a tendency to think that they really put the best covers on these story collections. I really like them. Great cover. So much going on here. I love this lizard with the ray gun at the bottom. That's my favorite. We already saw a softback of this, but here is The Currents of Space again. This time it is a book club. Don't know if this is the original cover, but I like it. It's very cool. Last but not least is Margaret Atwood's The Handmaid's Tale. This is a first edition, second printing. Almost perfect. Almost a first. It's a first, second. But I love it. I'm glad to have it. It's a great novel, one that we'll probably eventually do on the channel. And I like that I have this original cover of it. That's it for my A's. I know that there are... I have a lot more. Of course, Douglas Adams. I have the collection of that. I'm more by Brian Aldiss Anderson. There's a lot of A authors that I didn't pull stuff down for. If you know of any authors in science fiction A that I'm missing that are up my alley, right? We all know I like the kind of weird, challenging stuff. Let me know. But yeah, these are my favorite books from the A section of my science fiction library.